its name was Enza. I opened up the window and influenza.
There is no doubt that the casualties during the First World War reached an unbelievably high number. However, many soldiers and citizens at the time did not realize until it was too late that there is an even greater enemy within them, and it wasn't human.
The influenza pandemic of 1918, documented as the most widespread pandemic the industrial world has ever seen, killed an unbelievable 30 to 50 million people, over twice the 17 million people who had died in the actual World War occurring at the time, and about 3% to 5% of the world population at the time. Even though many soldiers were killed due to the Spanish influenza in the battlefield, that didn't stop World War I from becoming a leading factor towards the spread of this pandemic. Due to the incubation of the virus within the unsanitary conditions of the war, many soldiers contracted the disease and brought it home, and by many soldiers, we mean any soldier from any country. This made no country safe from the grasp of the Spanish influenza.
The Spanish influenza was only a nickname. The actual origin is still unknown, with only speculation that it could have begun anywhere, possibly evolving from birds to Chinese workers in train carts to soldiers returning from or going to war.
We do know, however, that it began in 1918, but faded out of existence in 1920 for yet again unknown reasons. Similar diseases have appeared, but none that pose nearly as much of a threat to humanity as a whole.
This world-spread pandemic infected approximately more than 500 million people all over the world, compared to the 20 million wounded in the war. No country was safe during this time, as the virus had quickly entered each of them before they could act. It was been hypothesized that if the war had not been ongoing at the time, that the spread would have been much less severe than it actually was, connecting the World War to the world-spread disease.
Although most influenza outbreaks disproportionately kill juvenile, elderly, or already weakened patients, the 1918 pandemic predominantly killed the healthy young adults. In fact, with historical records from Canada and the United States, the peak of mortality was at the exact age of 28. Everyone, healthy or not, could have and most likely did die after being infected.
Since the influenza was an airborne disease, once people breathed it in, it caused their immune system to overreact. The stronger the immune system, the higher the chance of fatality, which explains why the more healthy young adults were killed compared to the young or elderly.
The majority of deaths were from bacterial pneumonia, a secondary infection caused by influenza, but the virus also killed people directly, causing massive hemorrhages and edema in the lung. The infected died in just a few hours to a few days.
Sadly, though, the quick death did not slow this virus one bit. The mortality rate, 2.5% out of every 100 people, would lay wasted to this disease, as opposed to the normal 0.1% mortality rate for normal flus. This, of course, heavily affected the war. Allied soldier groups were cut down sometimes from 10% to 30% of their size, due to being cramped in unsanitary areas with rats, and for not understanding how the disease spread.
Many scientists theorize that the virus mutated in order to pass from animal to human, then again to transfer from human to human, manifesting the Spanish flu. Though it is not clear how the virus actually evolved, most scientists and historians conclude that because the disease is being airborne, the unsanitary conditions in the war, and the return of sick soldiers from the war, that was our own ignorance of how the disease spread which led to the extreme outcome that we all know about today.
We have learned that during dire times like these, the most correct course of action would be to close schools, stagger work hours, and stop large gatherings. These actions would have saved tens of thousands and will save more people in the future. We will keep watch for any disease laden beneath the skin of those common animals that roam this earth, and we will be ready to combat them should they ever attack again.